folks, I'm excited to share this week's 1 minute word with you. So, last week we kicked off with a fantastic new series on the parables of Jesus, right? So, you better watch this space. Some exciting stuff coming up. The parable I'll be sharing with you, however, is the parable of the prodigal son, which is one of my absolute favorites, by the way. Now, there is so much to explore about this parable, but today I'll just be giving you a little nugget. As we were taught in seminary, that context is king. So it's important to understand the context of this passage, of course. So we have two preceding parables, prior to the one of the prodigal son that shows up, and all of these parables, all three of them altogether, they are a response from Jesus to a complaint that the Pharisees made, particularly a complaint about the fact that he welcomes or receives sinners and even eats with them, right? And so it's one thing to welcome someone, but in this particular culture, an invitation to break bread or fellowship with someone or eat with someone had somewhat of a relational implication that suggested association likened to friendship, right? And so it was completely an unacceptable social convention. It was taboo, for the Jew to eat with the sinner. So one can understand the Pharisees' outrage, directed towards Christ. But their traditions, of course, did not necessarily reflect the true intentions and will of God, and Christ made that clear. And what the will of God was in this instance was to show how he values all people, right? How he loves all people and how he desires for all to be saved. And we see in the first and the second parable, there's an emphasis, on to what great lengths God would go to save the lost. And in the final prodigal, the prodigal that is my main focus here, is basically the relationship. It focuses in on the relationship that the father has with his sons, in the particular scenario there. So in hindsight, both sons seem to be lost here in the parable of the prodigal son. The one in the house does not understand his identity. I mean, both sons suffer with sort of an identity crisis. But even worse, they don't know their father. They don't understand the love that their father has for them. And so particularly the son that stayed behind, he didn't understand his father's will regarding the reconciliation of his once lost little brother, right? And so but in spite of their shortcomings, the father still expresses his love for both sons and his desire for both of them to be in fellowship with him and with one another. That's important, with one another. So I just like to encourage you, let us too rejoice with the angels in heaven when sinners come to repentance. Let us not imitate the envy of the son who ultimately refused to enter the house and join the family celebration, but let us rather imitate the love of the Father and his graciousness, right? His inclusivity, and that extends to both the Jew and the Gentile. Let us imitate Christ's passion to see the lost restored and saved. And let us cherish our fellowship with one another instead of envying each other. So, I'll just leave you with God is love, and love is the answer. So, I'm Joshua Hart, and this is your 1 minute word. Thank you.
Yo, thank you so much to everybody that has joined us on 1 Minute Word. Make sure on YouTube you go check out our channel, as well as hit on the notification, hit the subscribe, so that you're constantly up to date on what's happening on 1 Minute Word. As well, make sure you share your thoughts and your comments below and click on the like button. We are out. God bless. Have a good week.